You ever scroll through Zillow, see a house for $85,000, and think, yeah right, where's the catch? Are the neighbors zombies? Well, after our last video on cheap towns blew up, the comments section turned into a goldmine of suggestions. Some of you were helpful. Some of you roasted me. One guy said he pays $400 a month for a 2-bedroom and called me delusional for suggesting $800 was cheap. But here's the thing, cheap is relative. If you're watching from Los Angeles or New York, $800 rent sounds like a fantasy. If you're from rural Mississippi, it might sound like a ripoff. Everyone's frame of reference is different, and that's okay. So I took your suggestions, I cross-checked the rent, the home prices, and even made sure these towns still had signs of human life. No possum-infested fixer-uppers or radioactive zip codes. This list? It's 10 real towns suggested by real viewers. And yes, I double-checked the numbers. They're not Beverly Hills, but they're not ghost towns either. They're just places you can actually afford to live without selling a kidney. And here's the twist. We're counting down from still pretty cheap to wait, this can't be real. So stick around. The last town on this list might just break your brain. Let's get into it. 10 real cheap towns suggested by viewers. And yes, I checked the rent. Bloomfield, Iowa. Now, if you think Iowa's just endless cornfields and forgotten small towns, well, you haven't met Bloomfield. This place feels like it hit pause somewhere around 1997, in the best way possible. Quiet streets, classic Midwestern charm, and prices that feel like they belong in a history book. As of July 2025, the average home price here is $234,848. That's it. And it's only gone up about 3.5% over the past year. So yeah, it's stable, it's solid, and it's not trying to be the next Austin. But here's the real surprise, rent. In Bloomfield, the average rent is around $700 a month. That's 67% lower than the national average. You can find places going for as low as $525, and even the more updated units usually stay under $1,000. Now, no, it's not some booming metropolis. You won't find a Starbucks on every corner or a co-working space with kombucha on tap. But you will find a tight-knit community, a charming courthouse square, and people who wave when they drive past you. There's something kind of refreshing about that. Jobs here lean local. Think healthcare, schools, county gigs. But if you're remote or just want a simpler pace of life, this one's a sleeper pick. Bloomfield doesn't try to be flashy. And that's exactly what makes it so livable. Jackson, Tennessee. Welcome to Jackson, Tennessee, where Southern charm meets surprisingly livable prices. With a median home price around $228,000, this city offers far more bang for your buck than most metro areas. And get this, rents still hover between $1,100 and $1,500 a month. For a city with hospitals, colleges, and a real economic engine, that's a steal. Jackson isn't just cheap, it's connected. Located halfway between Memphis and Nashville, it's become a regional hub with real job opportunities in healthcare, manufacturing, and education. You'll find big-box stores and mom-and-pop cafes, but also enough space to breathe, literally. Parks, trails, and Tennessee sunsets come included. Is it perfect? No. Like any place, it has its quirks. But this isn't some ghost town with tumbleweeds and closed-down diners. Jackson is alive, and surprisingly affordable for what you get. And let's not forget, one of our viewers actually lives nearby and swears he found livable homes on big lots for under $20,000. Yep, $20,000. So if you're looking for affordability without total isolation, Jackson just might be the sleeper hit of West Tennessee. Bemidji, Minnesota. Welcome to Bemidji, Minnesota, the town where Paul Bunyan allegedly walked, and where your dollar might just stretch farther than you'd expect. Nestled between Lake Bemidji and Lake Irving, this northern outpost gives you snow, serenity, and scenery in one frosty package. Let's talk real estate. The average home price is around $216,000, and yes, that's up a bit, about 4% year over year, but compared to major metros, still feels like a bargain. Rent. You're looking at $850 to $1,100 a month, depending on whether you want modern finishes or just something cozy with heat that works. The winters? Brutal. No way around it. You don't live through January here, you survive. But if you're into ice fishing, snowmobiling, or just watching flakes fall from your cabin window with a mug of something warm, this town delivers. There's a quirky college town energy thanks to Bemidji State University, a walkable downtown with galleries, breweries, and enough lumberjack lore to make a hipster weep. One local said it best: "We don't have traffic, we have moose crossings." Bemidji isn't a place where you go to get rich. It's where you go when you realize peace, quiet, and a paid-off house might be richer than any downtown penthouse. Del Rio, Texas. Del Rio feels like Texas' best-kept secret. Perched near the Mexican border and kissed by the blue waters of Lake Amistad, this town gives you sunsets, space, and affordability, without the urban chaos. Right now, the average home price is $211,565, and that's not for a fixer-upper with possums in the attic. Rent hovers around $850 to $1,050, which means you can live comfortably and still afford tacos on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and basically every day. Del Rio is sunny almost year-round. Winters are soft, the people are friendly, and the pace of life? Let's just say your stress level drops the minute you unpack. Weekends are spent fishing at the lake, not fighting for parking at Trader Joe's. It's also got that beautiful blend of American and Mexican culture, which means two things: amazing food and even better festivals. But it's not for everyone. Summers are hot enough to cook tortillas on the sidewalk, and if you're chasing big tech jobs or fancy nightlife, you won't find it here. Still, peace, sun, and a mortgage that doesn't make you weep? Del Rio delivers. Would you trade noise and chaos for lakeside living and affordable comfort? Coshocton, Ohio. Coshocton might sound like a Scrabble word, but it's actually one of Ohio's most overlooked gems, where the charm is old school and the prices feel pre-inflation. The average home price is $154,170, and it's been creeping up, but slowly, still miles below national averages. Rent. You can still find places for $650 to $850 a month, which is laughably low if you're coming from the coasts. This town has that classic Midwest vibe: a historic downtown, tree-lined streets, a surprisingly strong art scene, and an old canal district that looks like it time-traveled from the 1800s. People here wave at each other, and not just when they're trying to merge. Of course, it's not exactly bustling with opportunity. The job market leans small town, healthcare, manufacturing, and some remote gigs. And you won't find a Whole Foods, but the local farmer's market? Solid. Still, picture this. You own a house, your bills are manageable, and you're not panicking every time gas hits $4. Coshocton proves small-town living doesn't have to mean giving up quality or your savings account. Would you give up city traffic for front porch sunsets and a mortgage that doesn't make you cry? Jerseyville, Illinois. If you're dreaming of quiet streets, front porches, and bills so low they feel like a typo, Jerseyville, Illinois is your kind of town. The average home price here is $144,451, and as of July 2025, average rent is just $290 a month. That's not a typo. It's 82% lower than the national average. In fact, you could rent a one-bedroom for $290, a two-bedroom for around $610, and even a three-bedroom for as low as $485. You'd spend more on a weekly grocery run in some cities. Jerseyville offers that classic Midwest charm: quiet neighborhoods, friendly folks, and just enough local shops and diners to keep life comfortable. It's close enough to St. Louis for weekend adventures, but far enough away that your rent won't feel like a hostage negotiation. Sure, it's not buzzing with rooftop bars or tech startups, but if you want to actually live instead of just survive, this place delivers. As one local put it, "We may not have a Whole Foods, but my rent is $290 and my neighbor brings me tomatoes." Would you trade big city status for a mortgage or rent you can pay without anxiety? In Jerseyville, the math just makes sense. Jacksonville, Illinois. Not to be confused with its beachy Florida cousin, Jacksonville, Illinois is a small Midwestern town where affordability isn't just a myth, it's the norm. As of July 2025, the average home value sits at $137,413, with modest 2% growth over the past year. That's the kind of market stability a budget-conscious buyer dreams of. Even better, rent averages just $475 a month. That's 71% lower than the national average. Two-bedroom apartments hover around $811, and 3 bedrooms can go for just over $1,000. In a world where studios in big cities cost triple that, Jacksonville feels like a glitch in the matrix. This town has that classic heartland charm, tree-lined neighborhoods, local coffee shops, quiet parks, and a close-knit vibe that hasn't been lost to time. It's far from flashy, but it's functional, peaceful, and proud of its roots. You're also less than an hour from Springfield, meaning access to jobs, shopping, and city amenities is within easy reach, without dragging your wallet along for the ride. Affordable, accessible, and real, Jacksonville, Illinois is proof you don't have to sacrifice quality of life just to afford a roof over your head. Martinsville, Virginia. Tucked into the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, Martinsville, Virginia is the kind of town where life moves a little slower, and the price tags move way lower. As of July 2025, the average home value is just $134,897, with modest growth of 0.5% over the past year. Homes here don't stay on the market long either. The average property goes pending in just 17 days. That means people are quietly snapping up deals. Renters, don't worry, Martinsville hasn't left you behind. The average rent is $897 per month, which is 45% lower than the national average. You can expect to pay around $705 for a studio, $897 for a one-bedroom, and $724 for a two-bedroom. Even a three-bedroom rental often lands around $818, a number that sounds like a typo if you're from LA. Martinsville offers affordable living, low utilities, and plenty of small-town perks like local diners, hiking trails, and even a touch of NASCAR history. It won't dazzle you with skyscrapers or luxury malls, but it will hand you a peaceful neighborhood, a mortgage payment that won't cause insomnia, and a place where community still matters. If you've ever dreamed of owning a little house with a porch, a yard, and maybe even a dog named Buck, Martinsville might be calling. Coming in next, Parsons, Kansas. Okay, let's be honest, you probably didn't have Parsons on your radar. But that might be exactly why it's such a hidden gem. Right now, the average home value in Parsons is just $78,666. Yep, you heard that right. Under $80,000 for a house. And it actually dropped 1.7% this past year. So it's not riding some wild wave of inflation. This is the kind of place where homeownership is actually within reach, without a trust fund or a second job driving Uber. And get this, the rent? Even more insane. You can find one-bedroom apartments here for as low as $400 to $500 a month. Two bedrooms? Often around $550 to $600. That's over 65% cheaper than the national average rent. You could literally pay rent and still afford to go on vacation. Parsons is small, around 9,000 people, but it's got the essentials. Schools, parks, a hospital, and even a surprisingly active arts scene for a town this size. It's calm, it's safe, and it's got that old-school Midwestern kindness. It's not flashy, and it's not trying to be. But if you're looking to stretch your dollar without sacrificing quality of life, Parsons might just be the real cheat code. Coffeyville, Kansas. All right, now we're headed to a town where the price tag might make you do a double take. Coffeyville, Kansas, population around 8,000, has an average home value of just $60,501. And while that might sound like a typo, it's not. It actually went up 3.8% in the past year, but still remains one of the lowest home price averages in the entire country. And if you're thinking, okay, but what's the rent like? Well, buckle up. You can find rentals in Coffeyville for as low as $400 to $550 per month for a one-bedroom. Even two-bedroom places are going for $600 to $700. That's less than half of the national average rent. For the cost of 1 month in San Francisco, you could pay rent in Coffeyville for 4 months and still have change left for a Sonic milkshake. The town has all the basics: schools, grocery stores, parks, and yes, a rich Wild West history, including the infamous Dalton Gang shootout. It's not a booming metropolis, but it is a place where your paycheck actually stretches. If you want affordability without sacrificing peace and quiet, Coffeyville might just be your golden ticket.